Imagine cruising past jagged peaks and winding rivers, then suddenly landing in mountain towns most travelers skip. Places shaped by pioneers, artists, and outdoor diehards. After deep research across travel data and local histories, we uncovered overlooked communities packed with gondola views, frontier streets, wildlife valleys, and hot springs escapes. These aren't crowded resorts. They're quiet legends hiding in plain sight, starting with Town 8. Town 8, Whitefish, Montana. Tucked into a quiet valley once home to the Kootenai people, Whitefish began as a rugged logging outpost before the Great Northern Railway reshaped its future. And that rail legacy still hums through town today at the historic Whitefish Depot, an active station that doubles as a small museum where travelers learn how steel tracks opened this corner of the Rockies to the world. The town takes its name from the nearby Whitefish River, and that blend of water, timber, and mountains still defines daily life here. From sunrise walks downtown to evenings when Broadway lights up for live performances at the Alpine Theater. Founded by award-winning creatives and now known for bringing global talent into a snow globe setting, scenic train arrivals, forested ridgelines, and panoramic overlooks from Great Northern Mountain give Whitefish a storybook feel, while its community calendar stays busy with concerts, winter festivities, and local gatherings that make the town feel lived in rather than staged. Research into regional travel patterns shows Whitefish continues to grow quietly, drawing visitors who want alpine views without mega-resort crowds, plus a downtown where coffee shops, small galleries, and family-run eateries sit just blocks from trailheads and wildlife corridors. It's the kind of place where a morning museum visit can turn into an afternoon hike, and a casual stroll becomes a front-row seat to mountain sunsets. But just wait until you see how Town 7 trades railroads for wildflower valleys and frontier thrift shops. Town 7, Ketchum, Idaho. Set along the Wood River with the jagged Sawtooth Range rising nearby, Ketchum carries the bones of a mining town, but lives today as a low-key mountain hub where adventure and everyday life blur together. Originally tied to smelting operations that processed regional ore, the town eventually took the name of frontier explorer David Ketchum, and traces of that working past still surface at places like the Wood River Valley Ore Wagon Museum, where restored wagons and indigenous artifacts explain how early transport shaped expansion across the West. Modern Ketchum leans hard into the outdoors, with trail networks climbing Bald Mountain, winding through the white clouds, and stretching deep into the Sawtooth Wilderness, an area known for hundreds of alpine lakes and quiet backcountry routes that feel far removed from crowded destinations. Between Ketchum and Sun Valley, the Sawtooth Botanical Garden offers a softer contrast, a carefully curated space of native plants, water features, and reflective paths that locals treat as a year-round pause button. Downtown tells a different story, with longtime shops like the Gold Mine Thrift Store, opened in the 1950s and still known for vintage finds and handmade pieces, giving visitors a glimpse into daily Idaho life rather than polished resort culture. Research into regional travel trends shows Ketchum consistently draws hikers, cyclists, and history-minded travelers who want scenery without spectacle, a place where a museum visit, a river walk, and a mountain climb can all fit into the same afternoon. But the mood shifts again in Town 6, where canyon walls rise steep and warm, mineral waters steal the spotlight. Town 6, Glenwood Springs, Colorado. Cradled where the Colorado River meets the Roaring Fork Valley, Glenwood Springs has drawn people here long before it ever became a vacation town. first as a healing place recognized by the Ute people, and later as a Wild West refuge that quietly evolved into one of the Rockies' most balanced mountain communities. Research into regional tourism and land use history shows the town's identity still revolves around its natural assets, starting with the famous geothermal waters at Iron Mountain Hot Springs, where dozens of mineral-rich pools overlook the river and canyon walls, creating a setting that feels restorative rather than flashy. Just beyond downtown, Glenwood Canyon rises sharply, funneling hikers toward Hanging Lake, a carefully managed trail known for turquoise water, waterfalls, and fragile ecosystems that highlight why access here is closely protected. Those looking for wider views often head into the surrounding canyon corridors, where Grizzly Creek and the scenic drive through the Roaring Fork Valley reveal why this area is considered one of Colorado's most visually dramatic gateways. Winter adds another layer, with Sunlight Mountain Resort offering a quieter alternative to larger ski destinations, while the town itself stays walkable and active year-round thanks to its historic core, riverside paths, and steady flow of outdoor travelers. Glenwood Springs stands out in research as a place where canyon adventure, wildlife corridors, and downtown life coexist without competing. But the atmosphere shifts completely in Town 5, where alpine glamour and historic streets take center stage. Town 5. Aspen, Colorado. Born from a late 1800s silver boom and reshaped into one of America's most recognizable alpine communities, Aspen balances polished mountain culture with pockets of surprising calm. A contrast that shows up everywhere from its lively downtown galleries to quiet riverside trails. Research into visitor patterns consistently places Aspen among the country's most active winter destinations, thanks to terrain at Aspen Highlands and Buttermilk Mountain that welcomes beginners and seasoned riders alike, while warmer seasons shift attention toward Crater Lake Trail and Castle Creek Road, where cyclists glide past wildflowers and forested slopes. Just outside town, Maroon Bells delivers one of the most photographed mountain backdrops in the Rockies, often paired with wildlife sightings that turn casual hikes into unforgettable moments. Back in town, the Roaring Fork River winds past the John Denver Sanctuary, a quiet riverside space honoring the songwriter's legacy and offering a slower rhythm that contrasts with Aspen's upscale storefronts and historic district, where boutique shops sit beside long-standing art spaces. Local travel data shows Aspen draws more than just ski crowds, pulling in hikers, photographers, and culture seekers who appreciate that a luxury reputation doesn't erase access to nature. It simply frames it differently. Between river walks, mountain overlooks, and a downtown that still carries echoes of its mining roots, Aspen proves glamour and grounded outdoor life can coexist. But the vibe shifts again in Town 4, where preserved Main Street charm meets mountain kindness in Utah's high country. Town 4, Park City, Utah. Rising just east of Salt Lake City, Park City began as a rugged mining settlement before reinventing itself into a mountain town where history, outdoor culture, and creative energy intersect in a way few places manage to sustain. Research into its evolution shows how former mine shafts now sit beneath world-class recreation, with Deer Valley Resort standing out for its carefully managed slopes that limit daily capacity, creating a quieter, more refined alpine experience that contrasts with larger, busier ski hubs. Beyond winter, Park City opens up through routes like the Guardsman Scenic Backway, a high-elevation drive that threads through dense forests and panoramic overlooks, revealing how closely the town is tied to its surrounding terrain. At street level, the Park City Main Street Historic District preserves buildings dating back to the 1800s, now filled with galleries, locally owned shops, and restaurants that keep the Old West facade alive while supporting a modern economy. Cultural relevance adds another layer, as Park City is globally recognized for hosting the Sundance Film Festival, with the Sundance Institute rooted here and reinforcing the town's long-standing relationship with independent storytelling and art. Travel data consistently shows Park City attracting visitors who want more than slopes alone. People drawn to a place where historic sidewalks, scenic drives, and creative spaces coexist naturally. Yet the atmosphere shifts again in Town 3, where wide valleys open and wildlife takes center stage in Wyoming's high country. Town 3, Jackson, Wyoming. Set in a broad valley ringed by dramatic peaks, Jackson grew from indigenous homelands into a frontier hub for trappers and hunters before evolving into one of the most wildlife-centered mountain towns in the country, a reputation backed by its immediate access to Grand Teton National Park, where jagged granite rises straight from the valley floor. Research into regional land use and visitation shows the town's rhythm follows the movement of nature, with the Snake River cutting a winding path through forests and open flats that support rafting, kayaking, and quiet shoreline walks. Art and conservation intersect at the National Museum of Wildlife Art, perched above the National Elk Refuge, where seasonal migrations turn nearby hillsides into living landscapes filled with elk, bison, and pronghorn. Downtown life centers around Jackson Town Square, a green gathering space framed by wooden boardwalks and iconic antler arches, where shops, local outfitters, and cafes coexist with outdoor concerts and community events. Travel analysis consistently highlights Jackson as a place where access to wild terrain does not feel staged or distant, allowing visitors to move seamlessly from gallery walls to riverbanks to open meadows in a single day. Yet the mood changes again in Town 2, where ancient architecture and desert mountains tell a story far older than the American frontier. Town 2, Taos, New Mexico. High in New Mexico's Sangre de Cristo foothills, Taos feels less like a town you visit and more like a place you step into, layered with centuries of human history that still shapes everyday life. Starting with Taos Pueblo, a continuously inhabited community dating back more than 1,000 years, where adobe structures rise from the earth and daily tours offer a rare window into living indigenous culture. Spanish explorers formally established Taos in the early 1600s, yet its identity today blends native heritage, desert light, and creative energy. A mix that becomes immediately visible when the landscape opens up at the Rio Grande Gorge Bridge, a dramatic overlook soaring hundreds of feet above the river and widely regarded as one of the most striking viewpoints in the Southwest. Scenic drives play a major role here, especially the Enchanted Circle, a looping mountain route that winds through forests and high-elevation valleys, turning a simple car ride into a rolling panorama of peaks and plateaus. Back in town, Taos Plaza anchors the community, once a Spanish stronghold and now a lively center filled with indigenous-inspired art, handcrafted jewelry, local shops, and cafes where conversations drift as slowly as the afternoon sun. Travel research consistently places Taos among America's most culturally distinct mountain destinations, drawing visitors who want more than scenery alone. People who come for canyon views and leave remembering drumbeats, gallery walks, and the quiet power of ancient architecture. But the final stop takes this journey even higher, where box canyons close in and a free gondola floats above Victorian streets in Town 1. Town 1. Telluride, Colorado. Hidden inside a narrow box canyon in the remote San Juan Mountains, Telluride feels like a town that time decided to protect. First settled in the late 1800s after prospectors followed gold veins into this high alpine pocket, and later preserved by geography that naturally limits sprawl and billboards alike. Research into regional tourism shows Telluride consistently draws visitors year-round, helped in part by the free Telluride Mountain Village gondola, a rare public transit system that floats riders between Mountain Village and downtown in about 12 minutes while delivering uninterrupted 360-degree views from elevations above 10,000 feet. Victorian-era buildings still line Main Street, where specialty shops and regional dining live side by side, including longtime local favorite The Chop House, while the surrounding terrain offers nearly endless ways to step outside. From lift-accessed runs at Telluride Ski and Golf Resort to warm-season hikes that climb into wildflower basins and rocky overlooks. Adventurers often head toward Bear Creek Falls, a demanding trail rewarded by cascading water and canyon views. Or choose the gentler Judd Weeby Trail, where panoramic switchbacks wrap above town and red-winged blackbirds echo through the trees. Just east of town, Bridal Veil Falls drops dramatically beside a historic power plant, creating one of Colorado's most recognizable mountain scenes, while everyday life below moves at a quieter pace. With no stoplights, no neon signs, and a downtown designed for walking rather than rushing. Travel analysis consistently places Telluride among the Rockies' most visually striking yet emotionally grounded destinations. A place where canyon walls rise straight from coffee shops and trailheads begin blocks from art galleries. And just when you think the journey ends here, the bigger picture of these mountain towns comes sharply into focus, pulling back from canyon walls and alpine streets. These towns share something deeper than scenery, shaped by indigenous roots, frontier history, and generations who learned to live with the mountains. From rivers carving valleys to quiet main streets near trailheads, research shows these places thrive by balancing access with restraint. They don't chase attention. They earn it slowly. Where gondolas float over rooftops, waterfalls echo behind historic facades, and mountain life keeps unfolding.